Hey gang, welcome back to some more success tutorials. And today we're going to be discussing how to reach your full potential and the number one reason why those who don't, they make this mistake. Okay? And so let's start out with the story that will illustrate how we can reach our full potential. Okay? Now, when I was younger, right, I was a little boy. I can't remember how old I was. Maybe I was like 9, and I went to this beach. Okay, now this beach was an unusual beach. Okay, at low tide you can walk out, and you can walk out a long way. Right, you can walk out maybe 50 or 80 yards out. Okay, you can walk out that far. You don't have to swim. So low time you can walk, but there's a little dip, right? Just as soon as you start to walk out, there's a little dip, and then it comes to a high part, where, where the sand is a lot higher when you're out there. And so during low tide, it doesn't have an impact on you, right? But for 9-year-old, we're short. But what happens is when the tide changes and the tide comes back in, that dip becomes very relevant, right? Now, when you're a kid, you could be bouncing, you could bounce your way in, right? If you're not a strong swimmer. But I was out there playing, having a great time, took my eyes off the tide, and when I went to make my way back in, I got trapped between the high part of where I was and the actual beach. And now that I think about it, right, it was probably like maybe 10 yards, right? But when you're 9 years old, everything's big, right? So I was trapped and I tried to go across. I tried to swim, but I was taking in water and it was going in my mouth, going in my nose, it was burning me, right? And I was getting afraid because I was like, hey, the longer I stay here, right, um, you know, I'm gonna end up drowning, right? And I was like, it ain't no one really here to help me, right? No one I knew. I'm not thinking about it. Like just thinking about like how did I get there? I don't know if it was I was with a camp or what, and everybody had come in. Maybe I probably didn't listen to the camp leader. Who knows, right? But I tried to get in. So I'll go, and then oh no, I can't do it. And I will go, and I'll come back, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to do it. So I said to myself, look, I want to go for it, right? And as I tried to do it, I panicked, right? And I was starting to drown, okay? And initially, this young, I think he was like a teenager at the time. Maybe he was like 16 or 17. And, he watched me, but he thought I was playing initially, right? Because you know how children play, right? So he thought I was playing. but eventually, he realized, oh, this guy's not playing. And he ran out to save me, to rescue me, right? So when he brought me across and he brought me up on the beach where I was sitting in the water, I was like really thankful. I was like, man, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I was afraid, I was frightened. And so he was like, oh, no worries, no worries. And I was like, man, thank you, man. And I learned a very big lesson, right? I learned a lesson to like, hey, I gotta keep my eye on the tide, okay? And so what happened was one thing I was learning, like years later, like 30 years later, right? I'm now thought about this one bad experience I had, and one of the things I've learned is that not all bad experiences are bad. In other words, not everything can be all bad, right? Nothing can exist all bad. It has to have a good side to it as well, and we'll discuss it in another video. But what I wanted to understand was how can we reach our full potential, and why? In other words, why do some people reach their full potential and others don't? So I went back and I had to think about this, okay? Because I teach jujitsu. How did I get to black belt and others don't? Okay, and so I racked my brain trying to figure out how I can explain this to another person to help them to reach their full potential. And so here's the other part of the story. So I got rescued and I went about my business. I went home, and my mother, because I don't think I told my mother this story, right? But my mother put me into sea cadets, and I'm like, sea cadets? Why are you putting me into sea cadets? I'm not even a strong swimmer. You're trying to embarrass me, right? So now my mom says you're going to sea cadets, right? Because she was focusing on the discipline, and the confidence, right? And I don't think she was really worried about swimming because my mom doesn't know how to swim, all right? So I go down to Secret at the time. I think I was like in 1982, right? And I go into Secret and I'm looking for the beach because I want to walk overboard, right? I want to learn how to swim on my own terms, right? But when I went down there was just a dock, right? There was no beach, and the water was green, dark green. So when you see like dark green, it's deep, and I was like, I don't want to go to Secret Heads. I don't want to go to Secret Heads, right? And so, but see, the thing is, while I was at Secret Heads, over time, I learned how to become a better swimmer. I learned to have fun, right, at something that I didn't like. I actually enjoyed the thing that I didn't want to do. I started to have fun. I started to jump off the dock into the water and do all kinds of crazy stuff, right? But here's the lesson in this that will help you understand how to reach your full potential. You see, what most people do, or here's the mistake, what most people do, when they get rescued from something, they don't seek to learn how to build the skill at what that person rescued you from. Okay? So the young teenager that rescued me because I couldn't know how to swim, I could have went about my business and never learned how to swim. And then if I went to another beach or I got myself into another situation, well, who's going to rescue me now? So what I had to learn to do is take responsibility for rescuing myself. So what I did was, through the help of my mother, is that I learned how to swim so that I can rescue myself. And that's how I was able to reach my full potential. Most people are always looking for people to rescue them. And guess what? It's very important for people to rescue us, right? But that doesn't take away your responsibility of learning the skill that you need so you can rescue yourself. We all need people to help us, right? I'm learning jiu-jitsu. I teach jiu-jitsu, and I learned jiu-jitsu from Sensei at Malak. And he rescued me, right? Because I didn't know how to protect myself. So he became the person that rescued me, right? Now I have to learn how to do jiu-jitsu on my own so that anything goes down with me that's a bad experience, I know how to rescue myself, right? So you have to understand, whatever you're experiencing that is a negative experience that you're going through right now, you're going to need someone to rescue you. You're drowning. Whatever that experience is, you're drowning. You're going to need someone to come off that beach, to come into the water to rescue you. Okay. Now, that person may be a mentor. It may be a college or school that you go through, or what classes you got to take. There's someone that's going to be willing to help you. Okay. Now, for me, that gentleman that rescued me, I didn't pay him. I was 9 years old. He was saving my life. But I believe that if someone's coming to rescue you, you should pay them. And then if they're going to teach you how you rescue yourself, you should pay them. You should be. That's the highest point of appreciation, is to pay someone who's helping you to help yourself. So the reason why a lot of people do not reach their full potential is because once they get rescued, they don't learn the skill to help themselves to rescue themselves. So what I did was I discovered that when that young boy saved me because I wasn't a strong swimmer, instead of me just going about my business and hoping that someone would save me later on, I learned that, you know what, I gotta learn how to swim. So you gotta take that same analogy in everything that you do. So for those who want to learn martial arts, and that's why I love martial arts, is because martial arts gives you the full analogy of transformation, right? White belt to black belt. See, when that young boy saved me when I was drowning, right? I was being a person who didn't know how to swim. I didn't know how to swim. That I wasn't a strong swimmer, but I had to become a strong swimmer. I had to become a better swimmer through what? Through practice. So that's what happens with martial arts, right? I teach martial arts for a living. Okay. Now, when my students come in, they're white belts. They have to transform into becoming a black belt. Now, I'm coming to save them from whatever issues that they're going through in their life, whatever bad experience they have. But it's their responsibility to save themselves through the information that I'm teaching them. Okay? So hopefully this video has helped you realize how you reach your full potential. And how you reach your full potential is you got to become the person. So whatever problems you're having in your life, whatever challenges you're having, that's you drowning. If somebody comes in there to help you, thank them, right? If you want to pay them some money, pay them. But what you should be doing now is finding out, what do you have to learn? What skills do you have to learn? What mindset do you have to develop? That's why I love martial arts, because it goes from white belt to black belt. When you come in, you got a white belt mindset. But if you make it to the end, you're gonna have a black belt mindset. You're gonna be a totally different person, and you've learned how to rescue yourself. Okay? So if you like the information that I shared with you, like, subscribe, and share this with more people to get this message out there, so more people get to hear this and they get to learn how they can rescue themselves from drawing. All right? And I'll see you on the next video.